And we're live. Well, how about that? Yeah, welcome back from spring break, and it is 9 a.m. ish, and I've been playing around with this live stream stuff, so I figured I'd give it a shot with you know, the pause screen that you saw there with the little dopey music. I hope the music is not still playing, and it stopped. Uh, let's see here. Nope, it stopped. Okay, very good. I got two computers going here at once, and this is my test computer over here to my left where I can actually see myself. I have four screens of myself staring back at me. I have this one looking at me, it's my own picture. Then I have the live stream, uh, the behind the scenes thing that you guys don't see hooked up with YouTube. That's staring back at me. And then I have another one with two screens that I can see a before and after as I transition back and forth from things like this to this, so I can see a before and after. So I got four screens staring at me. It is a little unsettling. So anyway, we got five people checking in, and it looks like my normal two, Connor and Kaylin, you guys are here again. Thank you very much. So, the music was pretty epic. Thank you, Connor. I appreciate that. Hope you guys were good over the spring break. Everybody's safe and healthy, and things are going okay for you. As of this moment, Governor Murphy has closed schools all the way down to May 15th, and at that point, he's going to make another decision of what to do. Now, if I look at my calendar here, May 15th is, I believe that's a Friday. Yeah, May 15th is a Friday, so he's going to make a decision on that Friday. Whether or not schools will reopen. So the soonest that we could possibly be in class again together is May 18th, the Monday. So that's what we're looking at. So anyway, being April 20th, we have almost a month of this to continue, this live stream stuff. And it is going to be what it is until then. I hope we just continue. So I think I stalled long enough. We are at 4 people watching and only 1 like. I'm trying to figure out how that works. But anyway, I'm going to keep this live stream up from 9 to all the way after 10. So what I'm going to do is at 9, I've already started it. And then I'll go as long as you guys have questions or till I give up stalling. Excuse me. And then I'll put that screen back up with the music and just let that play until 10. And that way I don't have more than 1 link. It'll be 1 video that I can use for all classes. And it just makes it easier for me. And, one stream instead of making 2 and different links and all that stuff. So as of right now, I only have you guys in here. There's up to 5 people now. And no one's really asked any questions. So for 9 a.m., I might get a mixed bag of honors and non-honors questions, but, it's the best I can do. At 10 a.m., I'll probably get the same, but it'll probably be mostly honors. And you guys are welcome to come back and see if there's any other questions, and that's that. So, little update with me. I've been using this time to continue building the chicken coop. And I'm not sure if everyone's been aware of this, but I've been building a chicken coop in the backyard. And it is coming along nicely. I'll put some pictures up on the Google Classroom so you can kind of see where we're at with what's going on there. And by the end of April, we're going to have chickens. And our goal is to get some chickens that are already laying eggs so we don't have to wait for them to get old enough to start laying. We want already laying hens, and then we can get a couple of eggs every day. And, if you guys have ever had farm fresh, organic, non-GM, whatever, eggs, like actual legitimate eggs from a chicken that is not in a factory farming situation, they taste so much better. And they're just healthier for you. So they're not loaded up with all this other junk that they put in the food system to, keep them fresher longer. And anyway, if and when that ever happens, I will definitely be sharing that with you guys. We have a chicken coop that's going to be big enough for about 10 chickens. Now, that's about half a dozen eggs every day at the peak of the laying season. During the wintertime, to kind of slow down a little bit. So we might get just a handful of eggs every day. But we're going to get about a half a dozen in the summer, in May, once all this is up and running. But the chicken coop, it's slowly becoming like an epic build. I have it all framed out. Later today, I'm going to start with the roofing, and I'll give you a walk around and everything once we're there. The garden is doing well as well. We are waiting for the next probably week before we start putting stuff in the ground. But Tina has been actively starting seeds inside, and we have cucumbers, squash, lettuce, peppers, jalapeno peppers, all kinds of stuff. She's growing herbs and everything too. So this is going to be as self-sufficient as we can possibly get in the tiny backyard that we have now. And that's what we've been doing. So I'll do a short video for that if you guys like, and I'll put that up on the Google Classroom or share it here. There's got to be a way to pre-record a video, add that to this live stream software, and just hit play, and I could sit back and watch it with you, answer questions as they happen. I got to figure all that out. All right, we got our first question. Good to see you. Can you go over examples of predict the products and balance, and what type of reaction questions? Okay, so let's do an example of predict the product. Now, there are 5 types. I don't want to go over all 5, but I can do a couple, maybe 2 or 3. So let's see. Let's scroll down here, and we'll do this thing. Okay, so here I got my document ready to go, and I'm just going to sit back and do some examples. If for some reason you have a question about the example, feel free to put it in the chat, and we'll do that. And we'll do this for as long as people have legitimate questions. So can you go over examples of predict the product and balance? Okay, to do this, you need to know the 5 types. So I got them written down here somewhere, but I kind of just throw papers on the floor, and they're around wherever. Hang on a sec. That's honors. I don't know what that is. Yeah. All right, whatever. I can't find the paper I want. So anyway, there's 5 types, right? So there's combo or combination. Okay, that's the first one. Then there's the combustion. Okay, number 3 would be the decomp. 4 would be a single. 5 would be a double. Now, I kind of gave you all these details in previous videos, so you might want to go back and watch them. But this quiz or whatever it is going to be due on at noon, so you got 3 hours. All right, so here we go. Combo is always when you have 2 things become one. All right, so if you see 2 reactants and it becomes 1 product, automatically think a combo, and that's how you identify that type. A combustion is always something, whatever that blank is, plus O2. If you see O2 as a reactant, you should immediately think combustion, and that's all you need to identify that type. A decomposition is only ever 1 reactant. They will break down into 2 products. So if you see this, 1 reactant with an arrow, you should think decomp anyway. You don't need the products to predict the type of decomp. Single is always going to be a metal plus an ionic compound. It's a little shorthands there. Metal plus ionic compound. And what you're going to get is a different metal and a different ionic compound. Okay? Doubles are always going to be 2 ionic compounds, and they're going to react together in a way where you get 2 new different ionic compounds. All right, so that's like the bare minimum you need to identify what kind of reaction it is. Now, like I said, I made videos on this, and I can't redo all of that right now in this short little live stream that we're trying to do. So, here, let me turn on the light. Do I have a light set up? I do not have a light set up, sorry. Can you guys see that? Is that all right? It looks okay on my screen. Anyway, yeah, it looks fine. So, if you want to predict the products of a combo, let's say we're just doing a combo, right? Real easy peasy. Combo is always going to be a metal plus a diatomic. Now, at least for us, there are way more complicated versions of these reactions, but I'm keeping it as simple as possible. So, yeah. It is very blurry, isn't it? I hope that me moving that around helped a little bit. Anyway, what you're going to get is something simple like a sodium plus a chlorine. That's a metal and a diatomic. All you got to do is the crisscross between sodium and chlorine. So sodium is a +1, chlorine is a -1. You get NaCl. Crisscross, reduce. Okay? Now, when you see that, a lot of people get hung up in the fact that you have 2 chlorines here. So they're instinctively wanting to put a 2 there. Do not put the 2. Okay? There's no 2 here because of the crisscross. Now it's not balanced, so the last thing you do is actually balance the equation. And there's that. Okay? So that's a combo. A combustion, there's 2 kinds of combustion. There's when you have a metal plus O2. Okay? This is going to be real similar to what we just did. This is the first type. I'll call that A. So let's say I had barium plus O2, right? It's a combustion, but doesn't that also follow the combo? So all I got to do is the crisscross. Barium plus O2. Barium's a +2, oxygen's a -2. Crisscross, then reduce. I did not put the 2 here because of the crisscross. It did not need a 2. So you got to balance the final equation like so. The second type of combustion is when you have a hydrocarbon. And a hydrocarbon is anything with carbons and hydrogen. So let's say CH4. And I'm going to react that with O2. When you see the O2, immediately think that it is a combustion reaction just because of the definitions we did. Now, there's no guesswork. There's no predicting. There's more of a rule. Whenever you have a hydrocarbon and O2, you're always going to get CO2 and H2O. It's just the rule. And then you got to balance. Put a 2 here to fix my hydrogens, and then a 2 here to fix my oxygens. Done. Okay? I hope that's kind of getting into the type of question you were looking for. I just did 3 of them. All right? You really, if you're not sure, you got to go back and rewatch those other videos explaining how to do this in greater detail. And it's not difficult. It's just getting into habits. And I got a feeling that spring break didn't do us any favors in remembering those habits. But, it is what it is. I can't control when spring break is. So that's that. Okay. Any other questions? Or if there's a follow-up question based on that, you got to let me know. You got a specific question, like how to do a specific reaction, I will gladly do an example similar to that. Okay? All right. Anybody else? We are going live for, it looks like 20 minutes at this point. And 5 viewers. It's okay. Not bad. But only 3 likes. So this needs to be addressed. Get some likes on there, all right? It really helps the channel. To be honest with you, I'm really thinking about taking this channel that you're watching and making it into more of a professional type of chemistry tutorial channel. This would coincide with my other YouTube channels that I do, and hopefully, make a few extra bucks. But in order to get this channel monetized, which is going to take forever, I need 1,000 subscribers. Okay, right now I have 29, so I need you guys to start subscribe. I got more than 29 students. Anyway, I stalled. Is that going to answer your question? Okay, everybody okay there so far? Let me know. I got no other feedback so far. So my clock says 9:15. Now I know there's a delay, so I'm going to probably hang out for another few minutes, and that'll give us maybe a solid 25 minutes of being live. And got one question. Now, keep in mind, your quiz is going to be due at noon, so that needs to be completed and turned in, and then there's the late policy of for every hour you lose a point. So if it's a day late, you're losing almost 24 points. That's a lot of points. So just do it. Turn it in on time, please, and, we'll do our best. If I go in there, I can see, let's take a look. The quiz, I've had 11 people turn it in, okay, which is not bad, okay? It is due at noon, so you got 3 more hours, give or take. So I'm waiting for the rest of you guys to turn it in. Now for honors, let's see. I've got 19 people turning in. That's good. Smaller class, more people. So a greater percentage of people for the honors course actually turning it in. And let's see. Type of reaction questions. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that question. I'd be willing to answer any question you have, but I need to know exactly what you're looking for. Can you go over examples of predict the product and balance? Yeah, I just did a couple of them. And what type of reaction questions? Well, you need all this stuff here, right? Again, in a previous video, all that stuff there with better detail will answer that question. So that's the beauty of making these videos. They're up there forever, and you can rewatch them anytime you want. And actually on YouTube, I don't know if you realize this, but you can actually speed the video up to as much as twice as fast. So you can get through the same video much faster. And I usually do that with slightly boring videos, probably like these. But anyway, again, I'm looking for a follow-up question here, reaction problems. Not quite sure what you're getting at. Anyway, that's that so far. I'm at 9:17. It was another 2 minutes. No new questions, no new viewers, no new likes. So what we usually get in a video like this is where it kind of reaches like a stagnant point. It kind of stalls out. And that's where we are at this point, I believe. So let's go back to this thing here. So, yeah. All right. So what's up with you guys? This kind of is a lot more difficult for me than it is actually being in the classroom because I can see your face. I can get instant feedback right then and there, seeing how you're interpreting what I'm saying, and I can kind of, figure out what you want and almost answer questions without you having to ask them. All right, let's see. Connor says, are we going to have a test on this soon? Not really a follow-up, but just wondering. Yes, Connor, we will be having a test on this soon. There's not much more in this unit that I'm going to cover with you guys. So I would expect to be wrapping this unit up in the next few days. Let's call it by the end of the week at the latest, and then you'll have a test following that, whether it's the end of this week or early next. And then, I'll give you sufficient time to get that finished up too. So you will be having a test shortly. And as far as the last quarter's grades go, quarter 3, I have until the 27th to get everything graded. And then we're starting unit 4 or quarter 4. So the last quarter of the school year. And there may be some announcements in terms of grading policies and what have you. But all that is out of my control. I'm kind of at the mercy of when the school makes a grading policy, I have to follow them. So there's talks of grading policies being adjusted for this new setup of remote learning. We'll see. When I find out, I'll let you guys know, and you might even know before I do because I'm kind of lazy and bad at that. But anyway, when I find out if there's been an adjustment to grading policies, I will, of course, apply them accordingly to your grades as well for the 4th quarter, and we'll do what we can. But again, this is all about just doing the best we can. Putting the material out there with some quizzes and tests, and you guys got to take care of it and just do what you can. All right, well, that's been almost a half hour that we've been live, and couple people checking in, so thank you guys for doing that. And again, your quiz is due by noon, so if you haven't turned it in or if you haven't started it, you still have plenty of time. It's not difficult, okay? Especially if you got the videos there, you can watch them, answer the questions, and go from there. And I'll be grading these manually, so don't pay any attention to the grade that Google Classroom or the form or whatever it is gives back to you. I'll be giving you the grade in PowerSchool eventually. Okay, so that's that. All right, guys, with no other questions popping up, I'm going to go back to that stall screen that I'm going to call it, and I will be back live at 10 a.m., all one giant video, okay? So as of right now, I have 9:20, and this has been about almost a half hour, okay? At 10 a.m., I'm going to come back, and, we'll do a follow-up. So check in then at that point if you guys have any additional questions or I didn't answer your question now, 10 a.m., come on back. We'll take a look, see what we can do. All right, guys. See you then. And, in the meantime, get that quiz done. All right. Talk to you again soon. All right, we're back, and we are again live at 10 a.m. for the second part of this thing that we're going to be doing. So, in between, I went and got all hopped up on sugar cookies and iced tea, so I might be a little bit more awake this time. Anyway, so hopefully we get some people kind of checking in here. I got 9 people who are watching. One of them is actually, believe it or not, my dog. My dog is downstairs with this live stream on the big TV, thoroughly enjoying our company. She can't comment because she's a dog, but she's watching TV. She feels, let's put it this way, she behaves when she's alone if the TV is on. If I leave the TV off or I don't play any music or anything for her, she tends to get a little uppity and starts chewing on stuff. So I decided to play this video for her. So she's downstairs in the living room watching this right now. And, I'm up in the office trying to get this thing figured out. So it looks like we're okay. Let me check my... Yep. Okay, everything's good. We are live at 10. And currently we have, looks like 11 people watching, only 6 likes. And they might be the same people who are watching over and over. So if you're around and you're hanging out, just leave a comment so I can see who's actually here. And we will be answering any questions. So at the very beginning of this live stream back at 9 a.m., this is the same video, same link all the way around. We just gave some updates about what was going on with the chicken coop in the garden and all that. You can watch the whole thing. I don't want to, really repeat myself. But at this moment, I am going to kind of hang out for a few minutes and see if you guys have any additional questions. What's up, Matt? Good to see you. This is probably going to be more for the honors, only because I didn't really get too many honors questions, and I don't see... Oh, hey, what's up? So I don't see too many people checking in from the non-honors. But, whatever. I can answer any question, honors or non-honors, whatever. That's that. So let's see here. I just heard my stepdaughter, Casey, waking up and going downstairs. So she's probably going out to the living room and is going to see this video on the big TV with the dog sleeping on the couch. So, Casey, how are you? Yeah, you're now on YouTube. Anyway, so chemistry questions. What do we got? Anything that has to do with, for non-honors, we're doing Unit 7. And for honors, we're doing Unit 6. So for non-honors, we're talking about balancing equations, predicting products, that kind of thing. And for honors, we're talking more about unit conversions involving moles, whether they're representative particles or mass or molar volume. All that stuff is fair game for questions. And either way, both of you guys, honors and non-honors, have a quiz that is up on Google Classroom, and that is due at noon. So as of this moment, you have less than 2 hours to get this done, but you've had approximately 10 days. Now, if I go in and check the numbers, let's see, honors. Earlier I checked, and we have 20 people who have turned this in. There's 5 left. There's actually 6 left, but there's one person who hasn't even checked in yet. So I'm looking for a handful more being turned in by noon for honors. And for non-honors, you guys have a total of, let's see here, 11 have been turned in. So I have several more that need to be turned in by noon. And again, late policy, it's going to be probably a point off for each hour that you're late, and we'll go from there. So that's that, all right? So you guys got to start getting this stuff turned in. Mostly the non-honors is what is missing. You honors guys, you got a couple more. You got to get in there, whatever. It's all in the Google Classroom. If you haven't seen it yet, got to get on it, okay? Less than 2 hours. Now, at this point, this thing has been running for over an hour. So we're at an hour and 15, give or take, that we've been live. And, yeah, so that's that. I'm not really sure what else I can say until I get any more questions. But I guess we can go over the schedule for the upcoming couple days, like I did with the non-honors earlier, around 9:30ish. All right, so excuse me. Non-honors, you guys are going to be wrapping up Unit 7 in the next couple days, definitely by the end of the week. So expect a test either by the end of this week or early next week. Okay. Now, honors, you guys have significantly more to cover in the unit you're in, so you will not be having a test that soon because we got a bunch more we need to cover. Okay. And the stuff we need to cover for your unit is involved, and it needs time. Okay. The time it takes to cover that through this type of situation, remote learning, will be significantly more time than what we would have had in the classroom. So is each question worth 20 points? No, it shouldn't be. If I go back in and look at your assignment, let's see here. And I'm just trying to get some point values. If I remember right, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this is just a quiz, so I won't make it that like heavy duty, meaning each question is definitely not worth 20 points. This is probably going to be like, I don't know, I haven't figured it out yet, but it's not 20 points each for each question. Okay? With that in mind, I just gave you a couple questions. I got to figure out how to grade it as a quiz for Power School. So do not think that it's going to be worth 20 points each question. That's crazy and ridiculous. I might just do like a 5-point quiz or a 10-point quiz or something like that. I got to figure it out, but that will be in the works eventually. All right, now there's another question. This is for non-honors, so you honors guys just kind of hang out for a minute. Is BAO considered 1 or 2 reactants? Well, that is one formula. That's one chemical, barium oxide. So it wouldn't be 2 reactants. It's only one reactant. But barium oxide could also be a product. It all depends on how it's written. So if you give me more information, I can elaborate. But if we switch over to, let's see here. If I go to this thing. Remember all this stuff we were talking about earlier? Okay. All that's still here. Now if I go to another page, barium oxide is one formula. So it's one chemical. All right. So that's together when it's written like that is one thing. It's just one thing. If you were to have this as a decomposition reaction, because I'm trying to understand where you're coming from, this would break down into its respective parts. You would have barium and oxygen. And then you would go back and balance like so. You could also have something like this. Nope. Scratch that. What was I doing? You could have the reverse, where in this case, barium is considered a product. So not all, how can I word this? Every chemical can either be a reactant or a product, depending on the scenario that the question is, okay? But I guess your question could be answered with saying barium oxide is one chemical. It can be broken down or it can be formed from its parts. It all depends. So try and figure out exactly what you're asking there, and then we can elaborate from there. And again, this is open up to questions from either class. I'm waiting to hear from anyone in the honors. Oh, you're right. I did get already a question from the honors. So anybody else have any questions? At this point, my clock says 10:09. So I've been doing this one for another 10 minutes almost. And, yeah, this is probably the longest video I've ever made. It's an hour plus. And at this length, this is about as long as our old 76-minute classes used to be. So, yeah, you know, it seems a lot longer than it really is, but it is what it is. So, again, any other questions? I'm just kind of stalling, waiting for my answer to get to you guys and waiting for any follow-up questions from there. So let's talk about, while I'm waiting for those questions, what I'm going to do today. After this, I'm going to be available for emails because once this video is over, I won't be able to answer any questions on the video itself. But there will be an opportunity to send me an email or even put comments on the Google Classroom, and I can answer questions that way. That's one of those two ways is probably the fastest and the best way to go to get a hold of me up until 2 o'clock. Now, at 2 o'clock, I have my other job that I got to go do, so I have some lawns to take care of today. And it's kind of a dreary day, so I don't know if it's supposed to rain or not, but we'll see. And if I can get anything done, I'll get anything done. Otherwise, in between emails, I will be out in the backyard, probably with the pup, making sure she's okay, and continuing work on that chicken coop. I'm going to start with the roof. I made, let's see if I can figure this out. Now, I'm going to be talking out loud while I do this, but follow-up question. For the kilogram question, do we need to convert molecules to formula units to find the answer? Good question. Let's see here. I'm not sure if I know which question you're talking about. So it says for the kilogram question. Let me just bring it up here. Let's see. It says how many kilograms is equal to 12.09 times 10 to the 32nd molecules. Okay. For the kilogram question, do we need to convert to molecules? Well, okay, Cynthia. Very good question, but the question that you're asking is worded in a way that tells me immediately that something's wrong. So, for instance, molecules and formula units are both representative particles. So there's going to be the same amount of molecules and formula units, but you're only going to use one of those terms. So for this particular question, if I bring it up again, this is for iron 2-phosphate, right? Now, iron 2-phosphate is a ionic compound. So ionic compounds have formula units, not molecules. So take that word molecule and just get rid of it. You're not going to use that at all in this question. For this particular question, if I can give you a hint, you're going to, oh, now I see the issue because I use the word molecules. Okay. I get it. Fair enough. Good question. And I did see your email earlier too, now that I think about it. Now I can see why you're having an issue. Okay. So for this particular question, it's worded with molecules. Take the word molecules out and put in formula units. That's my fault. Okay. So ignore molecules, use formula units, and I'll give you a hint. So what you got here is how many kilograms is equal. So you're going to start with that number that you have. You're going to cancel out formula units, and you're going to go to moles. Then you're going to go to moles to grams, then grams to kilograms. I'll say that again. You're going to go from that number that you have, which is really formula units, convert that to moles, moles to grams, grams to kilograms. All right? Let me know if that makes sense, and give me some feedback on my answer. That's my bad with the word molecules. Force of habit, I guess, and I kind of threw this question together last minute. Okay, all right, thank you. I was confused as to why you use molecules and not for. Yeah, that's like I said, I goofed. Okay, and you caught the question, and that shows that I was confused, not you. Very good. All right. Anybody else? We are at an hour 20. We need to wrap this thing up. I got a life to live, and so do you. And you got to get this quiz done by noon. So get this stuff done, and let's move on with our lives. Okay. Let's talk about the next couple units. We are in April 20th at this moment. And again, earlier I mentioned that Phil Murphy, our governor, said that schools will not reopen any sooner than May 15th. And at that point, May 15th is a Friday. He's going to make his decision as to when schools reopen. So schools will reopen no earlier than the following Monday, which is May 18th, a full month away from today. So we're looking at May 18th at the absolute earliest. If I were to make a prediction, and this is my gut reaction, the only way schools would reopen at any point, whether it's May 18th or not, is if all these social distancing measures and mask requirements are kind of taken away. So let's think about this. Right now, anytime you got to go into a store, you're supposed to be wearing a mask or a face covering of some kind. Now, The only way schools can function traditionally at the school itself is if we can do away with those social distancing and face mask requirements. So if on May 18th he says schools can open, but you got to maintain social distancing and everyone's got to wear a mask, I don't see how our school or most schools are going to be able to do that effectively. So chances are one of two things can happen. All right, let me put it this way. One of two things. Either, and this is me just speculating, I'm just a dummy in his office talking to a bunch of teenagers. All right, you ready? Here's what I think. One of two things. First, either prior to May 15th, that's about a month away, he starts dialing back on these social distancing measures, meaning the 6 feet, the number of people in a store, and all that stuff. If he starts cutting that down and says, look, we don't need to worry about that as much anymore, go back to how things were, and dial back on the mask requirements. Anytime you go in the store, wear a mask. If he says, no, you don't have to do that anymore, then there's a chance that school can open on the 18th, okay? Because can you imagine school with everybody's desks 6 feet apart, which is impossible given the size of the classroom and the number of students I have? Think about the honors class alone. There's 26 of you. How am I going to space you guys all out 6 feet? The room is not large enough. We'd have to go out to the football field, and I'd have to have the microphone is what I was trying to say, and teach that way. That would be crazy. So that's not going to happen. So either he's going to dial back on those restrictions and then open school, or he's going to say schools can open up, but you maintain these social distances and mask requirements. Even then, that's not going to happen. So my prediction is that school is not going to reopen until the fall. It's too soon, a month away. Even if you ever hear the flattening the curve thing, even with flattening the curve and keeping our distance from people, people are still getting infected and still people are getting sick and the whole bit. This is a crazy, crazy time. All right, so do we have to worry about the science park, by the way? Okay, I haven't heard anything about the park specifically, but I don't want to speak out of turn here because I'm less informed about that aspect of it. That might be a question for like the principal or my science supervisor. If you want, watch this. I'm going to go on my other computer right here, and I'm going to send my supervisor an email. All right, let's say, hey, what's the deal with park? Now, what I do know while I'm figuring this out is, hey guys, I'm gonna do this on the science department has their own Google Classroom set up. I'm on my other computer here, and I'm gonna just blast out a comment to everybody. Dumb question, because I'm a dope and need things spelled out like I'm 4. That's how I'm starting the question. Dumb question, because I'm a dope and need things spelled out like I'm 4. Students have asked me if the science park is still a requirement this year. Now, are you a junior or a sophomore? I don't remember. I could look that up, but I'm lazy. I believe you're a junior. My students, watch this. How does this affect sophomores and juniors separately? Students have been asking me how this affects them towards graduation, and I don't want to misinform them. Any info, gotta spell info, right? It's 4 letters. Any info will be greatly appreciated. So in real time, I'm sending the question to everyone in the science department, just to see what they have to say. Okay, Junior. Okay, good. I guessed right. So hopefully I'll get an answer for you in the next little while because they're all probably online at the same time. And I'll leave this up. Sorry, no one's answered yet, but it's up there. People might see it in the next couple of minutes, and if they do, I'll let you know what I have found out. Again, don't take my word for it. That's why I'm asking other people. So what was I saying? School? Okay. School, chances are, won't be open again this year, at least in my mind. I'm just speculating. I'm, again, a dope. I'm trying to figure this out just like everybody else. But I personally don't see how it's possible to operate a classroom with the social distancing and the masks being required all at the same time. So that's that. And I don't see how that's happening. If he dials back in the next 2 weeks and says, forget social distancing and you guys don't need to wear masks, then that's a whole nother ballgame. Then schools can open. But you also run the risk of having that second wave of there might be somebody who is asymptomatic but hasn't been tested, but they're positive, but they're not sick, but they're infectious, but no one knows, and you could catch it from them. And that could be the fear that everybody's worrying about. So for that, I really think that they're going to err on the side of caution. Is it or err on the side of caution? Just to kind of play it safe and not get everyone sick. Because at this point, the state economy and the global economy has been basically shut down anyway. Well, it's another few weeks at this point, right? Close the schools until June. Let this thing fizzle out over the summer. Come back in the September and see how we do. Okay, so so far no one's answered, but that's that. I'm hoping I could stall long enough to get you an actual answer. In the meantime, I just look like a rambling idiot. And 13 people, 8 likes. Something ain't right here. So let's get that figured out. Meanwhile, this is still playing for my dog downstairs in the living room. And I bet you Casey is getting a kick out of this as well downstairs. She's probably getting breakfast or something. Or she completely turned it off altogether, and she's watching something else. Whatever. So, yeah. Any other questions, you guys? I don't have an answer yet. I'm kind of running out of steam here. It's been about 23 minutes or so since I started doing this second portion of the live stream. And, yeah. Oh, I'll tell her you said hi, Matt. Do you guys have some sort of relationship I wasn't aware of? Have you guys met? This is new to me. But I'm sure she misses you if you guys have because of all this social distancing. She hasn't really been out of the house. You know, she's been out in the backyard, but she hasn't been, around other people all that much since all this started going down. And it's sad because she's still young. She's a little over a year, and we're trying to, train her to be social. But she's also like a part-time guard dog kind of thing, where she's got this habit of, and I'll tell you a quick story. She's really good at a couple of commands. She's not a dummy, but she's very stubborn. So she knows sit, down, high five. You put your hand in front of you, and she takes her paw and slaps it and whatever. She just learned speak, and her favorite command is watch. Now, this doesn't sound like anything I've ever had with a dog before, but we're sitting in the living room, and we have a sectional couch that kind of lines the wall. One of her favorite things to do is to jump up on the back of the couch and stare out the window. And she barks and growls at everybody who walks by. She lets us know that there's somebody out there because our house is right up against the sidewalk. So there's no front lawn. It's sidewalk and then wall, and that's our house. So people who walk by are, rubbing right up against our house. Well, she can see them. So she looks through the window, and we say, Zach, we'll see. Zach, you got me all confused now. Oh, so we taught her watch. So she could be sleeping on the couch, watching TV, playing with the cat, whatever she does as a dog. And we say, watch. And she'll run over, jump on the back of the couch, and stare out the window and start growling. She's gotten to the point where she's now doing this on her own. So she's protecting the house and the old homestead here. and she's doing a good job. The other night, it was probably like 3 a.m. ish, 2 a.m. It was middle of the night. For some of you guys, you probably hadn't gone to bed yet, but whatever. I was sound asleep. And I woke up suddenly to hearing people talking right outside the window of the bedroom. Now, she sleeps in our bedroom with us. She has his own little bed off to the side that, it's hers. So she started growling. She barked. She jumped up, busted through the door, ran up to the window, and started barking and growling. And by the time I got to the window, I saw somebody running down the street. I don't know if, well, they weren't really running. They were kind of fast walking, but they didn't want the attention of my dog in the middle of the night. Or my attention, let's put it that way. I don't take kindly to people getting too close to my house in the middle of the night, and we've taken precautions as a home defense setup. Anyway, I'll let you read into that. But by the time I got to the window, this person was just about gone, but our dog was still all worked up. Like, we told her, go lay down. She went and laid down, and she was just staring at the window the whole time. So she's protecting us, and that's what she's doing right now. So, Matt, if you happen to know my dog after saying hi, she hasn't mentioned you. Anyway, Zach, are we going to do that thing where we put our favorite food and get points? Probably not today, since you asked. Sorry. Maybe tomorrow. So here's what we're going to do. Another live stream tomorrow, okay? We're going to be starting new stuff for both classes tomorrow. 9 a.m. for the non-honors and 10 for honors, and we'll continue from there. So honors, a little bit more. We'll finish up by the end of the week. Honors, you got a decent chunk more, lots of math involved, and think word problems. It's just the way it is, all right? And that's that. All right, guys, I don't know what else I can say because, here we are. I've been stalling. I'm talking about my dog. What was the first portion of your live about? Well, basically, I did real similar to what I did just here. Answered any questions. There was a couple questions about bouncing equations and this and that. I talked about my chicken coop. I stalled. You really didn't miss anything critical. If you'd already turned in the test or the quiz, rather, you're good. But at this point, everybody has an hour and a half to get their quizzes in. It's about 10:30. I'm going to call it here. And you really didn't miss much in the first half. This is more not for me to give info to you, but to be there as a resource for you if you have any questions from me. So that's kind of what it is. Anyway, all right, I'm going to call it, and we will kind of wrap it up from here. All right, guys, again, 9 a.m. tomorrow, 10 a.m. tomorrow. All right, I'll talk to you then. And again, emails or anything like that, if you want to get a hold of me in the meantime, email's probably the best bet. And let's just go from there. All right, I'll talk to you again tomorrow. See ya.